All right, welcome back to another episode of The Loop. Today we have Tom Layman. Tom Layman is an author uh, as well as a golfer, and we're gonna talk about he just released a book or is going to be releasing a book. We'll talk about the book and everything that went into producing that book and his experience there, and um, I think you'll find it very interesting. So, like I always say at the beginning, please subscribe to the Loop. I'm trying to get my subscribers up there because I know you guys are watching. I see a lot of views, but not a lot of subscribers. So, call to action. Please subscribe. If you want to like it, go ahead. If you don't, I really don't care if you don't like it because I'm going to keep doing it every week. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tom Layman. Tom, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, before I jump into the book, just to give people kind of a background, you were a sports writer.
I was a sports writer at the Boston Herald for 7 years. I got to see a lot of cool stuff. I'm talking the heyday of the Patriots, the Red Sox. I covered a World Series in 2013, covered the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl game, kind of filled in and helped out when guys were traveling back. The reporters were traveling back on beats and whatnot. So covered the Celtics. But then my one of my main beats was the golf beat in Massachusetts. So I covered the Mass Golf Association for several years. Mass Open, Mass Am, some of the other local qualifying events. And then just did a lot of stories on people who were here in Massachusetts, playing golf. So yeah, it was a really good 7 year run, and I think that's why I always had the itch to write a book and continue on and continue my storytelling career in a lot of ways.
So that's great. So you wrote this book, which we'll get into in a minute, but any plans? You think you might want to write another one, or is that a thought that you have?
I just want to get level par out there and then see what happens with it. And it was a pretty it was a pretty long process for a couple of years to put this thing together. But you never know. I'm not really 100% sure yet.
So yeah, that's true. The book is called Level Par. What's the name of the publisher?
Briley and Baxter Publications out of Plymouth, Mass.
Yeah, so it's local company, local guy, local book. So it's a lot of good stuff in there. I read the book personally. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm going to tell you that if you're a golfer that's you know had any type of life experience at all, you're going to relate to a lot of things in this book.
Mm. Mm.
So going back to that, what made you decide to write a book? Like what was there certain things that happened or
I would say, when I left sports writing, I kind of left the writing world behind. I moved into more of like a marketing career for about 6 or 7 years, and then I started like a little video production company on the side. So I was always doing some kind of storytelling, but I didn't really write a ton outside of like the blogs for marketing and all those good stuff. And there was a piece of like my creative soul that was kind of missing from me. And so uh, as I started to kind of get back in the game of golf right around when COVID happened, I had quit golf for quite a while. I would play once or twice in some scrambles or things here and there, but just lost my love for the game. And then COVID, I started to play again because there was nothing else to do. So I just jumped right back in and started to have a better relationship with the game of golf and found a great golf coach, Tom Kavicki, out of Harmon Golf in Rockland, and started to kind of see my game and my appreciation for it and my level get better. And then I was like, you know what, there's a story in here about a guy who kind of lost his way, who gave up the game of golf and figured out how to get it back by hard work, determination, and really just putting in the work. And so as I was kind of getting better at golf and in life, and in a lot of ways, COVID was a major disruptor for a lot of people. I started to kind of journal and put down some ideas and put down some thoughts, and I actually started writing the book by hand. And that took me about a year and a half to like just really put a full story together. And so it wasn't even like I needed to write a book. It just started coming out of me. And then I was said, I knew the woman who started Briley and Baxter Publications. We went to Stacy Badula. Her and I went to elementary school together, and we had some coffee a couple years ago. And I just started asking her about the book writing process, and she's like, if you put something together, bring it back to me, and let's see if it's something that fits with my publishing company. And a year after we had that original coffee, I was back with her with a book in hand, being like, "This is what I got. This is what I did. So let's see where it goes." So it was really like a 3 year, like from getting my game back together to uh, thinking about how I wanted to progress in the game of golf, and then writing it down. And out of that came this story, a fictional story about a guy who is on the final hole of U.S. Open local qualifying with a shot to move on into golf's longest day. So it's a very fictionalized version of my story in a lot of ways. But I had spent a lifetime of meeting golfers and interviewing them and talking to them during some of the most pressure packed situations of their lives, and all the things that were going on in their head as an athlete. And those were the things that I was able to kind of convey in this book, and take some of my story, take some of their stories, I guess, and just put them all into this one, novella.
So it sounds like it was started as kind of a therapeutic thing where you just wanted to start
Yeah.
writing stuff down.
Yeah.
And then, and then along the way you said, geez, there's a story here.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it really did. It kind of, I mean, I think I always kind of wanted to do the book, right? Like I always wanted to write something. But I mean, when I was at the Boston Herald, it was, I don't know, I may have had 700 to 1,000 words to work with. I mean, everybody's picking up the Herald, like the little block stories. You don't have a ton of room. You got to get your point across very quickly and get in, get out, and that's your job. Like you could go online and write bigger stories and bigger features, but probably the longest feature story I wrote for the paper was like 1,500 words, maybe 2,000, something along those lines. So to go from writing like a 2,000 word story to a 30,000 word fictional story, I was like, this is a mountain I don't know if I can climb. But because I started doing it in the way that we just talked about, where it was like I'm journaling it, I'm thinking about it, I'm taking long walks with my dog and not bringing a phone with me, and like I'm thinking about the story at all times. It was always within me, no matter what I was doing. And anytime I could find some time to just sit there and almost like doodle what was going on in my brain, out this story started to come. And then I started to figure out like where were his turning points? What were the things that were kind of coming up in his brain as he's trying to hit these golf shots? What things were happening in his life, and what things happened in my life that reflected that in so many different ways? And that is and out of that came his book. And it's coming out on February 17th, and it's nerve-wracking, but also like it feels nice that it's going to be out there finally, because it's been a pretty long process.
Explain the nerve-wracking. I mean, I can guess. I mean, obviously you want it to do well, but you're not sure. But
Yeah.
it kind of is what it is. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Oh, for
like
sure. Yeah.
you've hit enter on the test with all your answers. There's nothing you
Yeah.
can
I mean,
do.
it's almost like, yeah, I think
Just
it's nerve-wracking from the sense of like there is a lot of me in the story, a lot of like personal things. And you can you read it. There's a lot of, and not all of it is me, right? I think I had to like really kind of pump it up a little bit here and there to get something that was super captivating for people's lot, like for people to read and want to like really grasp onto. But there is a lot about me in that story. And it is a little bit nerve-wracking from that perspective, that you just throwing yourself out there. And to me, that is you want people to like it, but I know that I like it. So it's more of like I've done the work, as you said, that it's going to be out there. But I would just like to see it succeed, because I want people to resonate with the story. And so far, I've had great feedback from people inside and outside the game of golf. Even I've been going to the post office here in Plymouth, and the guy Chris behind the counter, I've been sending books out all over the place, and he's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Oh, I wrote a book and X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "Are you a golfer?" And he said, "No." I'm like, "But are you a reader?" He said, "Yeah, I'm a reader. I love like devouring books." So I gave him a book, I signed him a copy, and I'm like, "Let me know what you think." Because I wanted that perspective as somebody who like didn't play golf, right, or had no really like love or attachment to the game. And he's like, "Oh man, that was great. Like I really connected to this character in so many different ways," and that is exactly kind of what I wanted it to come across as like that. It is a golf story. It's a story about a guy who's playing this game, but that's really just the avenue for which a story about life, a story about struggle, a story about being human kind of comes through.
Yeah, so I'll give you my observation. It's honestly the golf is secondary, in my
Sure.
opinion. You know what I mean? The golf is secondary. It's it's an identity, but it's secondary. Um, but what I was wondering was, and reading the book, there was so many things that you touched on. That, for example, and I'm not giving it away, but his relationship with his dad.
Yep.
You know, some of the struggles he was going through and stuff like that. Like as a writer, as a person with creativity and going down the road stuff. There's a road. There's a bunch of rabbit holes there that
Yeah.
you could have jumped down.
Yeah.
And is that like a process? Is that a technique? Is there something there? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, wow, you could have gone a lot of different ways with this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was actually having a conversation with another guy who wrote a book, and he was kind of explaining because he read it. He's a golfer. His name's Cristo Garcia. He's out of Dallas. He's an awesome dude. His handle on Instagram is Classic Golf Swing. I think a lot of people. He's like the Ben Hogan of
Oh yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's a super super awesome guy. But we connected because he's a writer, and he was talking about how I use the broken timeline because a lot of books are like you start out beginning middle end go from there, but I the way that I wrote this book was like I wanted you to feel like you were inside of his head, and we all know that when you're and then Jake is the guy that struggled with anxiety, that struggled with dependency on alcohol and drugs, and you're not really thinking clearly all the time. So my thought was like, okay, he's put in this pressure packed situation. Um, he's trying to close out a golf tournament. He's never done it before. And what do you think your brain's going to do? Like it's not going to be this one straight line where it's like this is here, this no, like he's just going all over the place. So I wanted you to kind of feel like on this whole, you are with him and you are all these memories that are bouncing out as he's going down these certain rabbit holes. Those are really coming up in his brain, and that's how he's processing moving through these next what does it take like 11, 12 minutes to play a golf hole, you know what I mean? Like so those that whole stretch of time feels like an eternity to him, but it's like he's only hitting four golf shots if he's going to compete and move on in this round, and like that can be an eternity to golfers. So I took my, I played high school golf at Silver Lake, and I competed in junior golf as well too. So I have competed at a level where you want you want to do well. You want every shot to mean something. That you have to really nut up and get this thing done. And I know that my brain has always never really been the way that can just clear itself out. Like there's always things going on. And I think from a creative mindset and a creative standpoint, like there's always something happening. Like, there's a I don't know, what do you want to call it? Like a gerbil running on the hamster wheel in my brain at all times. And that's the way that I wanted to kind of get this story across. That it is an up and down kind of a roller coaster of emotions that this guy is having in his brain. And if he succeeds, maybe, but that's the goal of the whole thing is just to live and to be in the moment as much as he possibly can.
Yeah. So did you tell? I forget. You were telling me about the guy from the post office. Has he given you feedback?
Oh yeah, he loved it. Yeah, he was
Okay.
like, yeah, it was great. I was like, so Chris, I'm like, what'd you think? He's like, oh, I loved it. I think that this could be relatable to so many people across so many different avenues, like whether it's athletes, whether it's people in business. It doesn't really matter. It's like if you want to succeed at something and you haven't had the cleanest of roads and you want to like get your stuff together, like it's all about those small wins and those small victories and those small progression to get where you need to go. It's not going to look pretty at all times. And that's what Jake's story is all about. And, you kind of pick it up all from his perspective. So, like, you don't really know all the evils that kind of happened through him through his entire life, but you get it from his point of view. And so, yeah, it was really nice to hear Chris. He had some nice things to say about it. So, That made me feel like I was kind of onto something, and I'm hoping more people pick it up on the 17th and past it who play golf, who don't play golf, and they feel the same way about it that Chris did. But I think my favorite movie, and I've said this a couple times to other people, is my favorite movie all the time is Rocky, and Rocky is a boxing movie, but really it's a movie about a guy. It's about a
Right.
guy who was down on his luck, who not that he was giving up on life, but he was beating people up for money, right? You know what I mean? He was, and he had to like make his bones about him and change his ways to succeed. And I really wanted to write a story just like that. So,
Well, the reason why I was asking about him is because I am a golfer,
yep,
and I can tell you from reading the book, which I think is what you wanted to do, is I was on the tee. I could see and feel the crowd. I could feel the sun. I could feel, I could understand the walk down the fairway, what's going through your mind in terms of the golf. So like that, I was there mentally on the golf course with the guy, and then listening to what he was processing through his head. And I say listening. I always think of a book as like a movie as I'm
yeah,
reading
sure, yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah,
um, but yeah, as he's processing stuff through his head, I'm obviously paying attention to that, but in the same time, I'm like, I'm counting the time in my head, and it's like, this he's got to think about this next shot. Da, 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 da. Like I was standing next to him in the fairway. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's,
Almost like
and
you
I
were
think
his
that's,
caddy, almost like you're like
and
thinking
yeah,
about like, how do I help this guy?
and I
Because
think that's what you were trying to do, right?
yeah, there's like a war going
So
on inside of his brain, and like nobody thinks that, you know, everybody thinks that golfers make it look pretty easy, right? Like, especially on the like if you go watch a PGA tour, they're going through their routine, they're doing the same thing every single time, but they're trying to hit a golf shot in front of four, especially this weekend at the at the Waste Management, like
yeah,
you're trying to hit a golf shot with a tournament online, or you're on the cut line and you have to come up to 16 in front of 40,000 people throwing beers at you, and you have to what do you think is going on in your brain? Like it is like you're either like ready to run in fear or you're going to run right towards it. And I think that you know the athlete's mindset is so there's such a mental side to every sport. But as you know, like golf is, I feel like it's that on steroids for sure. Like you have to control what's in your brain to hit a golf ball and to do it well and to do it when your left arm's a little tighter than it should be, or where the club feels a little bit heavier than it usually does. When you got nothing, when your mouth is dry and you're like, I just want some water or something, and those are the things that kind of come up in your like physical form, but mentally, like you have to really hone in to succeed at this game, and that's what I feel like I wanted to get across with Jake's story. So it's really cool to hear that you felt like you were in that hole with him, kind of rooting for him, but also like looking at being like, how is he getting through this? I have no idea.
yeah. And the other thing too that I don't know if you meant to do this or not. Maybe you did. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but I thought it was cool. Is and I try to do this in life as well. The things that he did to get to where he was, in that tournament in his
Mhm.
own life. Uh, just emphasize the fact that there is no magic pill, there's no, magic wand, something that you go from A to Z, that
Yeah.
you take one small step at a time
Yeah.
to get to where you want to be. And you almost don't even realize it's happening until you're in that situation and you're like, wow, uh, I can do this, or you can have that
Yeah.
belief that you can do it.
Yeah.
It's not a magic thing. It's a process that takes a real small step at a time. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you had that in your,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely had that. I think, so a lot of the book is about Jake, his struggle with his dad, his struggle with, failure, his struggle with drugs and alcohol. And I mean, as you see, like there are circumstances that bring him back to try and find a life, right? And so when he does meet his ultimate golf coach, like the first thing he talks about is like hit chips with your left hand and hit chips with your right hand. Like, and that's exactly what Tom Kavicki said to me like 5 years ago and or four years ago when I started working with him because I was a self-taught golfer. And I just developed so many different bad habits. And I remember going to Tom and kind of what the way I wrote about in the book is like, I want to be, I want to be, I've been playing this game since I was 6 years old. I mean, I was a single digit handicap at one point. I'm a 11 right now. I was a 9 to start last year. I don't know what the hell happened this past year, but
You wrote a book.
yeah, I wrote a book, right? So the I knew how to play. Like I played high school golf, and um, I guess I really wanted to rebuild everything, and I wanted to start from the ground up. And I think the only way to do that is when you are fixing your life or fixing your golf swing, and there's so many parallels between the two, is to start small. And it is gonna be a grind, and you have to really work at something over and over and over again to get that repetition in your head. I mean, I think about a great athlete isn't even thinking about, they're just reacting to what they're seeing and doing because they've spent thousands of hours like hitting that putt, hitting that chip, perfecting how they get the club back, reading the wind, doing all these different things. And that takes time. That is not something that you can just roll out of bed and go run the marathon, right? Like you got to train for a marathon. You got to do these things to put the work in. So yeah, a lot of the book is about doing the unsexy stuff and doing it as well as you possibly can until you get it right.
Yeah, and the other thing too that's important that I think spotlight in the book pretty good is that whoever it is, whatever they want to do to make a change, they need to make a decision.
Yes.
You
Yep.
know, the decision needs to be made. You can't say, oh, all I need to do is just, don't start doing. You need to make a decision that something is going to change.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, think about like your podcast, right? Like, I mean, one day you're just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go all in on it, right? Like, it was, you probably had it in your head for a little bit, right? Like, as you're listening to other podcasts and you're talking to other people throughout the game of golf, you grab, I think we met, we just like start chatting and you're like, oh, I should have had the podcast rolling on this one. It's like,
I know.
you're doing this day in, day out. So until you actually say go and do it, there's a great my favorite podcaster of all time is Chris Williamson, and he's got the show called Modern Wisdom. And it's about he's I think a 37, 38-year-old guy who is just like brings on these really interesting people. But one of the things he always says is that action is the antidote to anxiety. But doing the thing is also not talking about doing the thing or telling people that you're going to do the thing. Doing the thing is doing the thing, and you got it. Like, you just have to do it and however steps you got to take and maybe they're not the right ones but maybe you start doing things and you're going this way, you're like, oh well, I need to veer off a little bit and go in this direction. And I think that's the way that I did the book too, is like, oh well, I was writing the story and there was probably 8 other rabbit holes I could have gone down. There's still an ending that I thought about, and maybe we could talk about that some other day off the podcast that I didn't end up using, but like that was something that I had in my mind. And there was just all these different ways that you can go. But until I started actually like going down that direction and seeing what was coming out of it, like if I just sat still and did nothing, then you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, same with the podcast. Like
Yeah.
when I first started, I knew that I wanted to bring stories about golfers, behind the scenes stuff that you're not going to hear.
Yeah.
But I met Sean, Bay State Golf,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
you saw, and then I
Yeah.
DM'd you.
Yep.
You saw, you followed, I DM'd you, and I met you. Never in a
Yep.
million years would I thinking I'm going to interview an author about golf, but
Right.
here we are.
Exactly.
And it's
And then
all
we
about
find out we
taking.
have like friends in common, right? I mean, because like
Yeah,
all roads lead to the South Shore, right? Like that's that's just the way it is.
exactly.
But yeah, no,
And
I think
one step at a time, and
yeah,
all of a sudden this world opens up.
yeah,
That
it's true.
you know,
But until you actually do it, and until you actually go after it, um, it, you're not going to know what's going to happen. I mean, I can honestly say, and you've asked me like, what like, do I have a second book in me? Like, I don't know. At least I know the process now. I know that I can write one. Um, do I know it's going to be as like personal as this one was, and how much I poured myself into this one? I don't know. I mean, and um, but I know that when I'm 85, 90 years old, I can say that I wrote this book that I like. I will always have this first edition with me, because I sat down, did it. And if other people feel something about it, if other people like it and they want to share it and they want to buy it, that can, put money in my pocket, that would be great. But like at the end, I just want you to like the story. I just want you to read it and say, you know what, I got something out of that. And I can have some record that I was actually here, and that's a pretty cool thing to say.
Yeah, and then you're doing it a lot on your own. Like it's not like you have this big marketing company behind you that's
No, no.
doing
I
all
mean,
that
the
stuff.
beauty of it is like I know marketing, right? Like I've been working in marketing for the last 7 years, and I was a sports writer. So like I did have that kind of cachet that when I did go to this publisher and I talked to Stacy, she's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that you've been writing for a long time. Like I mean, I've been publishing ESPN Boston, Outside Magazine, Runner's World. Like I have this like resume that I could build off of. But when it comes to like having it's really just by myself, like to promote this thing to, I've actually created my own little podcast. I started doing like a video podcast, and I started just talking to my video camera, and because I'm a professional videographer, and like I'm trying to figure out ways to tell stories on my Instagram and just grow it from there. And like you, I've just been meeting people that I never thought in a million years I would have met before. When I went down to the PGA show a couple weeks ago, to go, they had the big PGA show in Orlando where basically all like the head pros go and all the buyers that are looking to get the new inventory and new clubs, or they just go and it's a big trade show. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I don't have much to sell other than this potential story and myself. And I don't even have a book I mean, I have a book to sell, but I just need to get this out there to as many people as possible. And I got a media pass and they let me come down, and I just started handing out books to, people in the industry. I met Trent from Barstool. Like I gave the book to Dave Phillips from TPI, the Titleist Performance Institute. I gave a book to Justin Rose's coach, and like I don't know if they're ever going to read it, but I felt confident enough to go up and say, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Tom Layman. I wrote this book. I think you might like it. Here's my contact information. If you read it, and you like it, and you want to reach out to me, that'd be great." And I got a chance to meet some people that I'd never thought I would have met before by sitting here doing just stuff behind the screen. So it is cool to see where this game takes you, how it's such like a connector in a lot of ways. And I think you and I will probably play some golf once the weather turns here, and we can have a good
Definitely.
round. And and you just meet people and you make friends through this game, and I think that's what connects this game to so many people, and it just makes you feel like you're part of something a little bit bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I agree. It's been an experience just doing what I'm doing now, and
Yeah.
just the people you meet, and I haven't had a negative experience yet, knock on wood, but I haven't had
No,
like a
oh, I mean,
negative.
they're probably bound to happen at some point, but like at the end of the day, you put it out there, and somebody is like, "Oh yeah, I'll come on your podcast, 100%." Like
Yeah,
you just think that it's gonna be a good conversation, and I think you just gotta try it and see where it goes. And I'm happy to support your podcast, and like I said, when I saw Sean's post about you, oh my God, absolutely, I'm gonna reach out to and just see if I can get on and see if there's like a connection that we can make. And so far it's been great.
yeah, I agree 100%. So February 19th,
17th, yeah, February
17th, sorry.
17th. Yep, yep, all good, all good. So you can pre-order your book now on levelparbook.com. I have a website where you can pre-order on Amazon and on the Briley and Baxter bookstore. I would say that the Briley and Baxter bookstore, they donate money back to animal charities, or so rescues and things like that. So it's a pretty cool thing that a little bit of your money is going back to a very, very good cause. I'm trying to get into some bookstores, so looking to do that from the 17th on. So I don't think I can like legally bring it to a bookstore until it's actually published. So I think I have to wait until that happens. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but trying to get that into some.
How does that work? Like, so, I mean, do you bring the book there and say, hey, can you take a look at this to see if you
Yeah, I think
want
it's called consignment. So basically, from what I understand, is that I fill out a couple forms with some bookstores, but basically, you might give them 10 books and they'll take like 60%, you get 40% of the profit, and then whatever books they don't sell, you just go pick up and go from there. So a lot of places are trying to highlight new authors, especially local authors. So I'm trying to like narrow down some bookstores here in Massachusetts and Boston and here on the South Shore as well too. I haven't thought about the big bookstore chains because I feel like I just don't know the process around it. I think it's a little bit like it's just a little higher up the chain. So if I can get into a Barnes and Noble, that's great. But I just want to see what kind of groundswell can start, at this very like local level, but then a local level in the golf world too, right? So and then see where it goes and use my social media, use my platform to continue to push this book out there and see if it's something that I can maybe I could turn into a full-time gig and that'd be super cool.
What about like a Joe and Lee's?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know Darren pretty well. We've chatted.
Did you
So
see him? Did you see him down at the show?
oh yeah, we saw each other. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you
He's a
did you
great guy. I
did you remember
mentioned.
to ask him about
Oh
what I
yeah,
was
yeah. He's
doing?
like, oh yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. So he's a good dude. He's a good dude. So I've known Darren forever. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try and do some golf shops, and then obviously when the season comes up, I'll probably just bring some. As you can see, I got my level par hat on. Like
Yeah, no, I was gonna bring up the merch.
yeah, I sell hats, and that's just me. I just like find a distributor to get me some hats, and I mail it out myself too. So if you are interested, I still have some colors left, and so I'm trying to do a book signing down here in Plymouth on the South Shore. So I'll keep everybody posted on that on my Instagram. I'm trying to do it over at Untold Brewing in Plymouth, so for March. So I want people to get their book, whether they can order it online and have it and then they can come bring it down and I can sign it. I'm also looking to get a bunch more books delivered to my house. So that's all of it. So when you're an independent author, like, and it's not self-published, I'm working with a publisher, but I can buy a certain amount of book. I can buy books at a certain price, and then it's on me to go out there and like pitch them out and sell them, and like go do readings and do other things like that. So it is very much entrepreneurial in so many different ways. And
Oh yeah.
I don't think you get rich off these things, but at the end of the day, like it's not my goal. My goal is to get the book out there and maybe get some good golf and play some and meet some people and see where this thing might take me. I'm not 100% sure where it's going to go, but I'm along for the ride for
You,
sure.
you could pitch the movie too.
I mean, you read it. I when I wrote it, I definitely thought about it in that kind of like movie way, in the way that it's written, and that it could be adaptable for that too.
Definitely. 100%.
So maybe I'll try and hit up Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and see if they can help out a local guy or Wahlberg.
They
If
might. Who
anyone knows Mark
knows?
Wahlberg, like
Yeah.
give me a call. Like I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, he's a golfer. He can be the
Yep, yep.
guy.
So you never know until you put it out there and see where it goes. And I just want to be as positive and upbeat and just take this thing on as much as I possibly can. And then wherever it lands, that's where it lands.
Excellent. So Level Par is the book.
Yep.
17th it comes out officially, but you can pre-order it right now on levelpar.com, right?
Levelpowerbook.com. Yep.
Levelpowerbook.com. Tom, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed the
Yep.
book. I can give it a 2 thumbs up,
Thank you so much.
however you do
Appreciate
that.
that. Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll be talking and especially playing golf down the road.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care. I'll see you.